I would always prioritize sales over equipment any day. For example, a guy was going to open up a business and he's like, oh, I got to get all these phones. I got to get all these computers and I got to get all this stuff. And he went out and did it, but the phones weren't ringing. Like, we got to get the phones ringing first constantly. And then when we're eyeballs deep into work and like those recyclers not getting it done, we are forced to buy the 30-inch. All right. So today we have Jacob. So Jacob is just getting his business started. He has a lot of really good questions. Jacob, can you fill us in, maybe get the audience up to speed on kind of like when you started, where you're at, and kind of like what the goals are for you this year?
All right. So this is going to be this year in 2025. I'm going to go full time in my business. I started my LLC. I got it registered 2 summers ago in 2023. Just had my son, my first son. I was just sitting on the couch, like hanging out, middle of the night, watching YouTube videos, AirPods in, and kind of like, I'm a teacher. I'm a full-time teacher. My wife is a teacher. And so I'm sitting there thinking, with a new mortgage and a new son, how can I make some more money? And so I was like, YouTube, side hustle, things like that. And just came across some videos. I was also just trying to figure out how to take care of my own lawn, because it was my first time having a lawn. And so came across some lawn maintenance videos, some guys doing it on YouTube. And I was like, you know what? That's actually really good money. I can do that on the weekends. And so I started, or just registered an LLC right away, just so I could be legit. And then got a couple customers that year. Then the next summer, I actually passed out some business cards and got up to like 12 or 13 customers at the height of 2024. And then I'm back down to like 9, 10, because people move, stop paying, whatever. And this year I'm going full time. My goal is to fill my schedule. Hopefully that's around 50 or so weekly customers. I'm going to be doing it full time. So it's going to be like a full-time job every single day. I'm going to be trying to market, trying to get customers. And the goal is to fill the schedule this year.
Awesome. So Jacob, what's your long-term, like 5-year, maybe 10-year goal? Like, what do you want this to be?
I want to get out of solo as quickly as possible. I would like to I have a goal of having 4 guys on. Obviously, I'm going to learn what is necessary, what is, what the actual number needs to be, because right now I'm kind of spitballing it, but I have a goal of hiring 4 people by the 2027 season, and then growing from there. I mean, just having more crews. I don't know what I will want to do in 10 years, in 5 years, if I find another opportunity that I want to venture into. I'm always open to different things. I've tried a lot of different things in my life, but right now I'm fully dedicated to this and growing it as far as I can. And so, yeah, I want to get into this year full schedule, next year $100,000 in the year, and then keep growing every year. And until I feel comfortable, I want to be able to support my family, be able to do the things that we can't do right now. So that's the goal. I want to have a business that can support my family, where my wife didn't have to work. I can provide everything I need to for my son. And that's about it right now, just growing.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. So obviously you've had the business started for a couple of years now. What do you think today, right now, going into this next season, is your biggest like hurdle, challenge, thing that you need to learn or overcome that you think I can maybe help you with? What would you say that is?
I think organization, in terms of like making sure I don't get underwater, in terms of like falling behind on like taxes and just, customer relations and invoicing, things like that. It's like I've never ran a business. I've never been on like a corporate side of like dealing with that kind of business. And so that's like the main thing I need to focus on. I want to be on top of that. I want to be professional. I want to make sure I'm as efficient as possible. And I just don't want to miss things. I don't want to slip up and have things come back and bite me and fall behind in that area. So organization, taxes. I know, most people would recommend just, go get a CPA. I'm planning on doing that, but anything else you can provide in terms of advice for that kind of thing?
Awesome. Yeah. So bookkeeping it's so easy to just be like, I don't know are you good with math?
Yeah, I'm fine with math.
Okay.
My best subject.
Yeah, most people, me too, by the way. I like math. I like numbers. So most people will just simply be like, oh, let me just hire a bookkeeper, right? And I've gone through a bookkeeper or 2 before, right? Like, what I would recommend when you're just getting started is to really understand the numbers. Don't just hire a bookkeeper or a CPA to like do it for you. What I would recommend is literally, and you're so small right now that like you can do this and it's manageable up until honestly, up until probably 100 customers, you can do this internally by yourself. And if you do this, what will happen is you will start to understand the numbers, you will understand the business, you will understand the payments and the expenses and things like that. But I would just on an Excel spreadsheet, very simple, at the top, title it income and expense sheet. And every single, you could do this weekly or you could do this monthly. At the end of the week or the month, you open up your bank account and you literally look at all of the like expenses that have been paid out. That is one of the most beneficial things to do. Now, they have software out there like QuickBooks, but the reason why I wouldn't necessarily recommend that right off the bat is like there's a really big kind of learning curve with QuickBooks, and you've got to kind of understand on how to properly label things. We filed the first 2, maybe 3 years in business of our taxes on a Excel spreadsheet that I tracked. So you can bring that Excel spreadsheet to the bookkeeper and be like, I've been tracking it every single month for the last 12 months. This is what we spent on fuel. This is what we spent on repairs and maintenance. This is what we spent on equipment. This is what we paid out in labor. Like you can do that by literally just looking at the bank account. And that will give you a really good feel for like how much money you're spending on certain things, what the most expensive thing on the P&L, the profit and loss statement is. And then as you start to advance more, then I would jump over to maybe like a QuickBooks. Now, today in our business, I don't do that anymore because it is very kind of time consuming.
Yeah.
But that I think is the framework and the foundation of understanding your numbers.
Okay.
I think that that's really important. And then outside of that, yeah, definitely getting with a bookkeeper to at least at the very least maybe file your taxes. So me personally, I have never paid sales taxes or like income tax or anything like that like myself. I've always had a bookkeeper that does that.
Yeah.
Why? Because I don't follow directions very well. Okay, that's why I started a business. I don't like being told what to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to mess something up. That just is what it is. And the IRS does not forgive. They're not forgiving of that.
Right.
When you have a bookkeeper, if they mess something up, it's very easy for them to just send a letter to the IRS and say, hey, that wasn't Will that messed up. That was us. And they'll kind of give you, one or two kind of like slap on the wrists and be like, okay, we'll let it slide type deal. So the bookkeeper is kind of your buffer. So that way they don't come after you. But yeah, you just go to the bookkeeper and literally this is what I would tell them. I don't want to pay physically, like I don't want to be the one to have to process any of the tax payments. I want you to handle everything because why? I want to focus on my business and growing my business. I don't want to have to worry about a sales tax charge, monthly, quarterly taxes, annual taxes. I want you guys. Yeah. That's why I'm paying you guys, right?
And that's in terms of like just all forms, filling out all that stuff that needs to be sent, right? And so you're just saying track the numbers, bring them the numbers, and then let them handle it.
Yeah, and you would bring them the numbers really just at the end of the year when they're doing the end of year filing taxes.
So do you like when you were starting out? I don't know how often you meet now. Do you do like now that you're bigger? Or do you meet like quarterly? Do you do once a year?
It depends. I would say at the very least maybe a couple times a year.
Yeah,
just to be like, hey, like here's what
you think that I should meet a couple of times with somebody now that I'm trying to go schedule.
I think that's a good idea. If not, maybe meeting in person, at least a phone call. Like, hey, can we schedule a 10 or 15-minute phone call? Yeah. I'm just going to let you know what I'm doing. I'm tracking all my expenses on an Excel spreadsheet, breaking them down in each expense category. And you can literally jump on ChatGPT and just say like profit and loss expense categories. And then just it's going to be like fuel, equipment, labor, uniforms, travel, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, you can wait to do it to the end of the month, which might get a little hectic if you have a lot of transactions. But if you're not spending a lot, it shouldn't take you more than maybe an hour a month to like sit down and add.
I think that's like where like I get caught up, or like where I'm like, okay, now I need to like take it serious. Cause like when you start out, you're like, I'm texting, they send me some money. I don't need to track anything, right? It's just like a little extra cash. And now I'm like, okay, well, it's serious now. I gotta make sure I track everything. And then now that, or when I had the 10 customers last year, it's like I kind of lose track because they're sending me like, because I didn't process anything through like a CRM. And so it was just like, send me money through Zelle or Venmo or Cash App. It's like, so keeping track of that, it was like non-existent for me last year. So it's like, it was kind of stressing me out.
Yeah, and that's good. That shows that you care
Yeah.
and you care about it. What my bookkeeper told us when we went there and we sat down was like, look, whatever happened before this date happened. All right.
Yeah.
Moving forward, we're going to start to do this right.
Yeah.
And we're going to make sure we're tracking things. So
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to not take Venmo and Zelle and Cash App and cash under the mat.
Yeah.
However, it
No
is
one
very
to.
difficult to track that
Yeah.
to really make this a business and a professional business that you can like count on, right?
Mhm.
To pay the bills and feed the family. So
Right.
what I would recommend is as you start to transition, again, this all doesn't have to happen overnight, but as you incrementally get better, do you have a CRM?
I'm on, so I made an account on Yardbook. I haven't used it to invoice anybody. I opened it up over the Christmas break, the winter break, and signed it, or like right before the Christmas break, just so I could get familiar with it. I put in all my customers, and it looks like that's another one of the questions I had written down was talking about what CRM you think would be appropriate for my size, for where I'm going. If Yardbook is okay for now, and then because I know it's kind of more the basic necessities of the business. Like it looks fine for me. Like I can put in a customer, I can put in jobs, I can put in invoices. It says I haven't done it, but it says you can do like card on file, which is something I really want to do. I want all my payments to come through there. And so, what do you think about Yardbook?
I think Yardbook is great, and if it's easy for you to use and understand, and that's what you like right now, run with it. So they have that feature on there of adding a card on file.
Mhm.
Honestly, the professionals in this industry, that's the standard
Yeah,
is having a card on file.
yeah,
So don't think that, oh, I might lose some customers because they only want to Venmo me, right? Realistically, as you start to get more customers, the type of customers that you want are the ones that are like, just let me put my card on file. I don't want to necessarily hear from you. Just show up at my property every other week and
yeah,
make my yard look good. Like those are
mhm,
the best customers. And it'll help for your sake, it'll help you out tremendously when you start doing the bookkeeping stuff, because you can literally run a report at the end of the month and just look at how much money that came in, and then you can update your income and expense sheet on your Excel of like how
yeah,
much money you made. And then what you can also do on that Excel spreadsheet is you can build it to where the income that came in, let's just say you made 10 grand this last month, right? Let's say it's like summertime or whatever, you made 10 grand. And then each line item, so you spent $200 in fuel, you spent $1,000 on equipment, and then what you would want to do is have all of those expenses start to
mhm,
deduct the total income. So at the bottom, you'll have what you made. And
right.
so
So
that would be,
you have your formula in there, and the
yeah.
because I actually made an Excel spreadsheet last year to try to keep track of it. I put it on my customers and then decided I was going to put something into Yardbook, and so like I was like, I don't know if I want to keep this Excel sheet or if that'll take care of all of it. But what you're saying makes sense. I want to keep an Excel sheet for myself. So
Yeah, and that'll be super accurate. It'll also show you how much money you're making, because you might get to the end of the month and be like, "Man, I crushed it this month and I made 10 grand, but you spent 15." And you're like, "Okay, what are we changing next month? Because we can't
yeah,
keep doing this, right?"
mm,
It'll give you a really good pulse and understanding. Also, even today, so we're going to be doing $1 million in sales this year. We don't incorporate our expenses inside of our CRM. It's separate. We do it on QuickBooks now. So we do have two different software. So where I'm going at with this is I don't think personally I would recommend tracking your income and expense sheets on Yardbook.
right. It's just more of just a customer communication invoice system and
Yeah, yeah,
job tracking.
yeah, and then treat the Excel as the bookkeeping side of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Okay. Because I guess they offer that on Yardbook because I know they have like equipment listed on there, and I put that in there. Is that like what that's for? Is like they track like when you bought something and put that into a like report.
Yeah,
Is that
I
what it is?
believe so.
Yeah.
I haven't used Yardbook in a few years, but we started off with Yardbook, so
Okay.
it's a great software, like to get started and really get
Yeah.
some customers and charge
But you're
them.
saying separate finance from customer
Yeah,
relation. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I think that would be good. It's
Okay.
easier that way for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Awesome.
And talking about payments on there and like having card on file, what is y'all's standard for receiving payment? Like how do y'all, because obviously right now I'm doing per cut. They pay me each time I come. I don't want to, I would like to move into obviously card on file where I automate the payment, but then also ideally for me, my vision for either next year or whenever, as soon as I could, I would like to tell me what you think about this because I haven't heard anybody really talk about it, like having like a monthly like subscription base like model where you pay a flat rate all year long and then you have these, this service plan where you come weekly throughout these months, bi-weekly, and then whatever once or twice throughout the winter. Do you do anything like that? Do you know of people who do anything like that? Does it work?
It can work. I know people that do it. We personally don't do it. What market are you in? Where are you located?
I'm in North Fort Worth.
Oh, okay. You're in Texas.
Yeah. And you're in like where are you? Dallas, southeast
Yeah.
Dallas?
Yeah. We're actually right down the street from you. So you can do that. I'll give you the pros and cons of it. So the reason why it makes sense to do subscription is you get paid year round, and it's great because in December, January, and February, when right now things are slow, you're getting paid.
Yeah.
That's good. I think it also makes it semi easier for the customer of just a flat monthly charge, right? And then for you too, because you just do the invoicing maybe on the first of the month. And then if you do that model, what I would recommend to bill them at the start of the month. Because the last thing you want to do is mow, weedy, edge, and blow the entire month 4 times if it's a weekly thing. And then get to the end of the month, you try to charge them, it doesn't go through. Now they just they got 4 or 5 services from you, and then you didn't collect any money. So I would just kind of like pre-do it for the month. So charge them up front if you wanted to do that model. The reason why we don't do that model is because what happens in the busy season in June, July, August is you're there a lot more often. Like typically for our customers, we're fertilizing and stuff. So like we're there weekly in April, May, June, July, August. And what's happening is you are taking those funds that you were supposed to be getting paid on those visits, and instead you're offsetting those in the cooler months when things are less busy. So what happens is you get this weird financial crunch in the busier times because you've got your payroll to pay, you got employees you got to pay for.
Yeah.
And so what happens is, and you only have this fixed amount. And so what I see a lot of times is people get into this tight cash crunch when it's their busy season and they're having to figure things out because they don't have all of the money to pay their crews and things like that that actually come in the winter time. The other thing, what we do is we are a la carte. We come out, we perform the service, you get billed that day. For us, we want to get paid as quickly and as fast as possible so I can take that money and go deploy it somewhere else. So there's some companies that'll bill at the end of the month or something like that. Obviously we don't do that. But then the other thing is too, is if the card doesn't go through on a la carte, immediately their services are paused. They will not receive another service from us. And so that security is there too with that. But what's nice is in the busy time, we make a lot of money in March, April, May, June, July, when we're there a lot and we're pumping out jobs because we're getting paid end of day. Literally, we're charging the cars end of day. And then, but again, in the wintertime, it does, we got to kind of cut back on things. We look at our expenses, see what we can cut back on payments. We may lay a couple people off because we just can't keep people on all year. So those are kind of the pros and cons.
I wasn't really thinking about that because that's right. Like it's something that I had not considered. It's like you need more if you have employees, right? You need more payroll in those busy months, and that money's not coming in as densely as the work is. So that makes sense.
Yeah. And then the last thing I would say about that too. So I'm talking specifically field workers. Like the people you're going to hire to put in the truck and go work, they're technically speaking a cost of goods sold, which is a category on the profit and loss statements. So what a cost of goods sold is basically, think of it like trimmer line or fuel. If you don't have the jobs, you're not going to be spending money on fuel or weed eater trimmer line.
Right.
It's supplies you need to do the job. Think about mulch. It's a material, it's supplies you need. So technically speaking, our field members are supplies
Yeah.
we need to do the
Yeah.
work.
Don't need
And
them if you don't have jobs. Yeah.
and if in the winter time there is no work, guess what happens to the supply and the mulch and the fuel that we buy? We don't buy it. There's not enough work. And so what happens with our field members? If we don't have the work, we got to cut back on them. And
Yeah.
so unfortunately, and I don't really like that because I care about my people, but that's the way that we have to view it. And so in the busy months, we need a lot of people. Like, let's ramp this up. Let's make a lot of money,
Yeah.
get all the jobs we can get. And then in the off season, we just need to, it's a seasonal thing. You might be able to retain a quarter or a third of your team,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's kind of how I would view that.
Speaking about retention of employees, like how do you try to retain an employee? Like if I were to have a less busy season, what do you do to try to keep somebody who you have to kind of let go for the season or like the winter and have them come back in the springtime? Do you are you trying to do that? Do you just kind of be like, well, maybe they'll come back, maybe they won't? What do you do about that?
It depends on if I want them to come back.
Right.
So like if they're a really good employee and I'm like, man, I just can't retain them right now in the winter, there's not enough coming in. What I'll do is I will give them a sign-on bonus in the spring when they come back. Why? Well, if I don't give them a sign-on bonus, guess what I have to do? I got to pay my time to train the new guy, do 25 interviews to find one solid dude. And it's like, all that costs money. I'd rather just give that guy $500 or $1,000 sign-on bonus once he comes back after 30 days of working with us. And then I don't have to retrain him.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you don't offer any like special like winter service, like you don't venture out into any other kind of business?
We do. So we do winter services. So what we do, so you said that you have like
in terms of like other work, like Christmas stuff, like Christmas lights or anything like that. Do you do that kind of stuff?
No, we don't do any Christmas lights, any of that stuff. What we do is we take our recurring mowing customers and we shift them over to winter services.
Yeah.
And so instead of coming every other week to mow, we do mowing, we do bush trimming, de-weeding the flower beds, leaf removal, because leaf removal is pretty much all through November, most of December. And then, you could even check gutters, just doing checks on the property.
Yeah. What do you do about how do you talk to them about those services? Do you include it like when you bring them on? And like, do you include that in like a package, or you just say like sell them on it? You just upsell them when wintertime comes?
So we put a real kind of smaller, because I don't want to bog down us onboarding people in the spring and be like, oh, hey, by the way, 8 months from now, we do winter service, because they may not even be with us 8 months from now. Maybe they just want mowing in the summer. So we put in the terms and conditions or underneath like the line item on Yard Book, you can put winter services in effect beginning December 1st all the way through February 28th. That at least get you in the door of like, if anybody questions, it's like, hey, well, it was technically under the terms and conditions. This is kind of what it is. Now, what we do in the fall time come November, when winter services are about to start, what we do is simply blast out one email with a video of me talking, explaining winter services. Hey, we come out, we focus on these 6 things. We spend the same allotted amount of time as your mow, which basically means you don't have to accept another estimate. This is how we keep your property looking good year round. Oh, and by the way, if you don't want this, just respond back, opt out, we'll remove you. And some people don't look at their email, and then like 3 weeks in, they'll call you and be like, Jacob, why are you on my property? I don't need mowing services. Just be real gracious with the refund policy. Hey, no worries. We sent out an email. You maybe didn't get it. If you wanted to opt out, no problem. We'll refund your last service. And what is it going to be? $45, $50. But at least you don't make the customer super upset. And then we retain about maybe 60 to 70% of our mowing customers that way. That will help generate some revenue in the off season.
Okay. So you're saying retain them through the winter?
Yeah.
What this is another question I was kind of thinking of. I don't know, not incredibly important, but like, what's your like retention year to year, like from November to March, like when they start back up? Like, how many people are like falling off for you and like not returning to your service, or what can I expect?
It really depends. I've got my calculator here. I'm going to do a little bit of math. It really depends. It depends on how the quality of service is. In the beginning days, dude, we were losing like 50% of our customers. Like, it was rough. It was probably more, honestly. Nowadays, because we've really honed in on quality and making sure that our team members aren't getting a ton of complaints.
Were you losing them when you had employees, or when? Because how long were you like solo doing the work by yourself?
Really just, I mean, the first year I had a part-time helper or two in
Yeah.
the first
Okay.
year, and we
Okay. So
did.
you always had somebody, at
Yeah,
least somebody.
well, the first year I started way late, and I think we did 18 grand in the
Okay.
year, so I don't really count that. But the next year we did 128,000. That year I had a couple part-time people with
Yeah.
me, but I was in the truck, so like
Yeah.
I was seeing every
Right.
property. Quality control was top tier. When we went from 128,000 up to 365,000, that's where things like broke, dude.
You went there in 3 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Is it just like, I mean, off topic, going away from what I said, but like, how did you go from 18,000 late in the season to, what do you say, 128 the next year? Like, how quickly did you get customers like in the next year? And like, I've watched some of your videos, so I think I know, but like, what exactly were you doing to get that many customers, like filling your schedule that fast?
Yeah, I think probably the two biggest things when it's really quick, door hangers number one.
Yeah.
We were putting a ton of door hangers out. And then the second thing was the vinyl stickers on the truck.
Right.
Once
Okay.
that happened, that unlocked it like
Yeah.
to go, because now everybody sees our truck driving around with our logo
Yeah.
constantly for the
And
next.
did you just have one crew that year? What did
I think we bought 2 trucks. Well,
okay.
oh no, yeah, 365,000. Yeah, I think we had like 2 trucks. And then I think the big unlock for us that year also is we hired somebody that used to be on the Seattle Seahawks, and the
Mm,
dude was a freaking stud,
yeah,
man.
of course.
This dude would run circles around me as the owner. And so like, and he was always reliable and would show up, and his work ethic was like, I mean, to make it to the NFL, you need to be like 1 out of 10,000
Yeah.
people with work ethic, right?
Mhm.
So like this guy showed me what a good employee looked like, and I was like, and I took a step
Like
back.
a
I'm like,
standard.
oh snap, okay, so this is what the standard is, and even if
Yeah.
it's not that, at least we got to be close to it, like showing up every day, knocking out jobs, not wasting time. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, like, and so that
Yeah.
was a really big unlock too.
Sweet. Yeah. 'Cause that's my plan. Just spin it. I'm a full time, door hanger passer. That's what I'm going to be until schedule's full. But I just use business cards. I just leave business cards on the door. That's how I got my customers. I haven't ordered door hangers. I know, there's probably some difference in effectiveness, but it worked for me last year. I passed out like 200, like a little over 200, like in my neighborhood and like a few houses nearby. And yeah, like I got most of my 13 customers from those.
Okay, so you did. Let me do the math on that real quick. So
I know
13 divided by 200. Okay, so you're getting about a 6% return on that. That's pretty good.
yeah,
That's
it was
pretty
like
good.
nine. It was like 8 or 9 were from just the cars. I think I had like 2 people stop just on the road, ask, "Hey, do you cut grass?" Yes, and I mowed their lawns. And then one guy, it was like on our HOA, right? Like on the app, and they were asking for lawn service, and I responded to them. So I think that's how it's like divided up. So
Yeah. So I think you should potentially test the door hanger
yeah,
and then see the response on that. You can go to Vistaprint and get like 3,000 or
yeah,
5,000 door hangers for probably 10 cents, 15 cents, maybe a
yeah,
door hanger. Like it's really, like you might spend a couple $100 on it.
yeah,
And so the reason why I like door hangers is because they physically have to take it off the doorknob and it's now in their hand. We
yeah,
have people in our neighborhoods that slip the business card inside of the door. What happens when you open the door, the thing falls on the ground. Now,
yeah,
granted, I'm a homeowner, I'm going to pick it up and throw it out, but like it's just, I don't know. I think you might have a little bit better response. You have a little bit more room to sell the customer on the flyer,
yeah.
and grab their attention and like show what service is. But
Mhm.
yeah, definitely might be something to look into as far as the door hangers. Do you have the vinyl stickers on your vehicle yet?
I bought magnets, and I didn't mention it, but I'm just in an Altima. I'm in my Altima, so that's what I'm doing. But I have these magnets that I stick on there, or that I just got these, so I didn't use them last year, and that's one of the things that I heard you talking about how important it is, was having logo and information on the car or on your truck. And so I went ahead and got that. I plan on getting a truck as soon as service starts, because we just don't have extra money at the moment. And so when that extra revenue starts coming in, I'll use that to put toward the truck payment, and I can use those magnets for now. But then as soon as I can, I want to get some vinyl on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Dude, you're bringing me flashbacks to how we started.
yeah.
Pontiac Grand Prix. I was putting the mower in the back seat.
Yeah. That's
And
what
then,
I don't have any like pictures, but yeah, I just built like a little ramp, like a little plywood and 2x4 ramp that I can fold up and put in the back, because I was picking up my mower and just putting it in there. I was like, my back's starting to hurt. So I made a ramp so I can push it up in there and just fold it back and then put it in the back seat. And so all my stuff goes in the Altima. It's funny. I would like to be more professional or look more professional. I do a good job. It's just I think some people are turned off by it. I'm sure some people are probably appreciative of the effort, but you know, pros
yeah,
and cons.
we all start somewhere, dude. Like
Yeah.
in, yeah, that's normal. It'll give you a good story when you
Right.
have 2, 3, 4 trucks with 5 employees working for you. So
I was kind of talking to my wife about this, like what to ask you, because I want my priorities right now are truck is number one, and then vinyl or signage on the truck, and then upgrading my mower, because all I have right now is a 22-inch recycler Toro mower, residential, and so I use that, and so I want to upgrade it to a 30-inch push like commercial mower, and so I was like, what should I get, and that's going to be 1,500 or whatever on Facebook used, or however much new, and then signage on the truck is going to be another whatever, probably $2,000 for like a good looking like vinyl wrap or something, or like partial wrap. I don't know. So like what's more important? I mean, I think doing the quality work with the commercial mower, I was thinking might be the first step, as opposed to getting like a professional looking wrap on the truck.
I would always prioritize sales over equipment any day, 100%. Because like, for example, I'll give you a guy was going to open up a business, and he's like, oh, I got to get all these phones. I got to get all these computers, and I got to get all this stuff. And he went out and did it, but the phones weren't ringing. Like, we got to get the phones ringing first, constantly. And then when we're knee deep, or like not knee deep, like eyeballs deep into work, and like those recyclers not getting it done, we are forced to buy the 30-inch, and we need to get it now, So I would do the truck.
Yeah.
I would also, again, the door hangers is, if you want to do the business cards, that's probably fine, but just like set a goal. So like, okay, here, let's do this. Your goal is what, 50 customers? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So minus, I'm not going to count the 2 that you saw at the gas station handed out. So you got 11 from slipping them in the doors. Does that sound accurate?
Probably 9.
Okay. So out of 200 business cards you slipped through the door, you got 9. Okay. So, let me do this. 50 divided by 9 is 5.55 times 200. So you're going to need 1,111 business cards to get to 50 customers.
Yeah.
So
about 1,400. Right.
You have about 1,500?
Yeah, about 1,400. I would say 1,400 to 1,500. I have some leftover from what I had last year, and then I bought another 1,000.
Yeah, so you're good then. So roll with that. I would do, definitely get the truck. You're going to need it. When you put out all 1,400 of those things, you're going to have 50 customers. And then obviously the truck, definitely get the vinyl stickers on ASAP. When you buy that truck, within 1 week, the decals need to be on it. That's the deadline. Like, we got to get because you don't want to be driving that truck up there with, the magnets are fine, but I'm telling you, the vinyl will really separate you. It will be worth the money. I promise you. Like,
and can you recommend me, or I don't know if you want to shout somebody out on the video or not, but like, can you recommend me somebody in the area, since you're in the area, who you use, or what?
If you're willing to make the drive because you're local, we use a company called Skylar Signs up here. They do really, really good work. It might be worth the 50, and it's probably going to be $1,000, maybe more. I would not get a full wrap.
Yeah.
I would just get, your logo on the door, and then the phone number really big, really, really big on the above the rear wheel well, so people can, like, when they look out the window, they can visually see it. Shoot, you can even put a QR code on there. Do you have a website?
I do have a website. It needs a little bit of work, but it's Squarespace, and it's like a good looking template, and I have all the necessary info on there in a form to fill out. You can send me an email. So
Yeah, so you can even put a QR code like at the back of the rear wheel well. That's what we're actually doing on our wraps that we're doing right now. So that way, when people come up and you're like mid mow and they're like, "Hey, do you have a business card?" You say, "Hey, do you have a phone?" Because everybody's got a phone. They're gonna say, "Yeah, cool." Take a picture or scan that QR code right now. You can literally give us your information. I'll give you a call when I get back to the office. Dude, you'll crush it. You will if you get the truck, you put the vinyls on all before spring rush, which is March 1st. So you've got 30 days. Got 30 days to get this all lined up. The truck, the vinyls, and then at that time starting to put out those 1,400 door hangers. And if you can get all 1,400 door hangers out by March 30th, I would put money down that you have 45 to 50 customers.
Yeah. And that is the only like yeah. And I would do that. The only this restraint that I have that is actually the bottleneck right now that I didn't really consider to tell you, but is I'm a full-time teacher at the moment, and so I have the weekends to work on. And if I get even so full that I need a third day, then I think I can swing taking a Friday off near when like the rush starts happening. And so, but I can't do more than that because I'm a part of a team, part of the school, and so I can't just stop doing the job. I mean, I guess I could, but my paychecks are going to be coming out through August, which is going to be supporting us, supporting like the start, right? Because I'm not going to be making as much in the beginning, and it may not cover all the way through the winter. But my paychecks are going to be coming out through September or October, or not October, August to September. And so that is actually my bottleneck in terms of like pushing to get as many customers.
Yeah.
But
Which is okay, but what's nice is you have that steady income right now.
right.
So what you're going to want to do is, if possible, what if things really start to pick up, and I'm telling you, if you play that card of those deadlines, things are going to pick up. They definitely will. Then obviously if you can take those Fridays off, that'll give you, 4 days a work week at school, and then 3 days to grow your business, right? And then obviously evenings too, potentially, especially when it gets hot. Maybe you can go out and mow a few lawns like Monday through Thursday. But then once summer hits, where it's like kids are out of school and you're not having to go there, I would crank that dial, dude. And I would grind and put out more, and then really try to build that up. And then even if you get to a point where you get too much work, where it's like, oh snap, I gotta go back and teach in the fall, right? And at that time, you would look at like maybe just getting like a helper.
Yeah, teaching. It's going to be all lawn care after this year. So
okay, then yeah, dude, we got to crank that dial.
Yeah,
we got to crank that dial. So I think you'll be able to manage that. You just might have a little bit slower growth in the spring because you're Monday through Thursday, those 8 to 10 hour days, which is 30 to 40 hours, like, is being spent somewhere else. But don't let that deter you. You'll still get a good return, and maybe you even get to like 25 or 30 customers. At least it gives you a good baseline.
It's why I didn't grow last year. It's the reason I didn't grow more than I did is because I had to teach and I wasn't committed to being a full-time lawn care guy. And so I kept it as like, it's extra weekend money. It's a weekend job, and I didn't push. And so I know it can work, right? Like it was really good evidence and proof, right there of how much I put out. 200 cars. It took me less than a day's work. It was like, 5 or 6 hours that I was just, driving around finding overgrown lawns and passing them out. And so, I know I can do it. It's like, I'm kind of just like waiting, it's like, I'm almost to where I can just go full in, and it sucks that I have to kind of still do the full-time job and wait until I can really push on this, because it's all I think about, it's like the only thing that I'm working on.
Yeah, you're gonna feel like you're burnt out in the spring when you're juggling both, but just know it's temporary and it's not gonna last long. And if you put the actions in to get the customers, which literally it's a process focused thing, right? Like if I put X amount of business cards out every week, it will result this amount of results. And so it's really just that a numbers game. And then once you get the vinyl stickers on the truck and everything, dude, you'll be golden and you won't have to teach anymore.
It's gonna be sweet. Not that I absolutely hate teaching, but I'm trying to make a little bit more money and freedom. you know.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I've got about maybe like 5 more minutes left. Do you have
Yeah.
any other
Yeah.
questions that are
I'm gonna
pressing?
look real quick at what I wrote down. Oh yeah. I know you do weed control, right?
Yes.
Yes. That is something that I just want to be more knowledgeable, one just for my own lawn. It's something for my business. I know in Texas, I don't know about for business. If you're a business and you do weed control or fertilization, do you need a license? Like,
Yes.
yes. Okay.
Yes, if you're spraying
So,
pesticide applications on a lawn, you 100% need a license in the state of
okay.
Texas.
Okay.
For
Would
for
you
money for money, if you're doing it for compensation. Yes.
and that's not something that I plan on offering right now. It's not
Mhm.
something I really want to focus on at the moment. I'd rather push the basic maintenance service. But what would you think about that? Like, what is your recommendation for like how to approach that?
I think it's a phenomenal service. You can make
Okay.
35-40% profits in it. That's why we keep it and retain it, and are building out our locations doing that. I have a course. It's a paid course. It's only $49,
Mhm.
but it basically and for you, it would be perfect because you're literally in our region.
Yeah.
For some other people, I would not recommend that per se. I mean, there's a lot of good information about like how to, push spread the lawn and like how much to overlap and what are how to manage drift and like there's a lot of kind of stuff involved of like the basics and like understanding. I also have a couple coaching calls in there. We go over my entire program. We have like a whole granular program for someone like you that's just getting started, that
Mhm.
doesn't have a lot of money to buy a $8,000 rig or spray equipment setup. You can literally get started with a $400 push spreader
Okay.
from Lesco's
Yeah.
push. And so it's really nice. You do need to get licensed though. But in all of my YouTube videos, there's a link below. It says it's called the Applicators Training Course.
Mm.
And if you just click on that link, it'll take you right. I think you gotta when you get there, it has like I do paid coaching, and then underneath that, it has the applicator training course. But I've had people go through that you give in it is phenomenal.
So that's your course that you offer, and then what do I go through for like the actual like licensing, like to get licensed?
Yeah, so you're gonna have to reach out to the Texas Department of Agriculture, Texas
Okay.
Ag. I think you can go to texasag.com or just Google it. There are 2 exams that you're going to need to study for and pass. If you have the time now and you're really, really a go-getter, you could probably crank it out in 30 days. Like,
Okay.
but again, I'd prioritize those other things first
Yeah.
that we already talked about. But I mean, if you're really kind of like you said, just waiting around right now, that might be a really good thing, like to put the head down, study for 2 or 3 hours a day if you have the time for the
Yeah.
next couple of weeks, and then go take the exams and get everything knocked out. And then there's 2 exams that you're going to have to take, and then there's 3 books you're going to need to order to study. They do have classes that you can pay for to go and learn that are like, I think 2 or 3 day classes. I didn't do that. And dude, I was not great in school. I was like a C student
Yeah.
and did a lot of like one of
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
things, right?
Yeah.
I figured out what's working and I'm going to copy it, right? It's not difficult, but
Yeah.
yeah, just putting in a little bit of work, you'll be able
Okay.
to pass those.
And then can I ask one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So last week, I started getting my like Google page up, Google profile, Google business profile up, and got that going. Yesterday, I sent out text to all my customers that I've had to ask about that. Send them a nice text message. Hey, hope family's doing well, whatever. Appreciate the business. If you don't mind, give me a 5-star or give me a review if you think I, provided you with 5-star service. I got one person to do the review. Again, I probably had like, 15, 16 people, maybe a few more, because I had like some one-off jobs that I did with people and people who fell off. What do you do to get reviews? Like, what do you try to do? Like, what's your strategy in terms of getting 5-star reviews on your page?
Okay, real quick as a disclaimer, when we're done with this video, stick around.
Okay.
All right. Okay, what do we do? So when we do walkthroughs with the customers after a landscape job, we don't do walkthroughs after mows because it's that simple. But like when we trim bushes or do mulch, and we our guys will ring the doorbell and just do a quick walkthrough. As long as they're happy, we say, hey, do you mind taking 30 seconds, leaving us a Google review?
Yeah.
That's a good one. We've in the past, we've gotten an iPad before. So we won an iPad somewhere, and I was like, I don't use iPads. And then what we did is we sent out a mass text and said, hey, we're doing a raffle. So anybody that leaves us a 5-star review is going into a raffle to win an iPad.
Nice.
And we had a pretty good return on that. And now for you, it doesn't need to be an iPad. Maybe it could be half the price or a quarter of the price or just $100 Home Depot gift card. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, we also incentivize our team $50, $50 per Google review that they get with their name on it. So again, me as the business owner that has multiple locations and up to 14, 15 employees at our peak season, I can't be the one going out there shaking everybody's hand. How do I get our workforce to do the selling for me? And I would much rather pay my team $50 to get that Google review than pay Facebook ads or Google ads to go try and get another customer, because it really helps drive SEO and push you up on the search engine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I need. I'm like, I had the profile and like it's on there, and I'm like on top of my neighborhood, and I search for my lawn care, and it doesn't show up. I'm like, what the heck? So I'm trying to get the SEO. Yeah, that makes sense. Little incentivizing, because I thought about that, right? But I just wanted to see how it would go if I just reached out to them and asked. But incentives are definitely something I need to do for them.
Yeah, it takes time. You can also, what we're doing this year is we're getting business cards that have like a 5-star Google review. It says like how was your experience today? And then it has a QR code that when the customer scans it, it literally takes them right to leave a review. And then again, we're giving it to our team so that way they can write their name on the card, hand it to them, and be like, instead of the customer tipping the employee if they did a good job or talk to them a little bit longer, all they have to do is take 30 seconds to leave a review, and that will get them a tip. And the customer doesn't have to pay the tip. Like, just take 30 seconds of your time.
Hey, my boss is going to give me $50 if you leave a review. Okay.
Exactly. So, those are some of the things that we're doing. But all your friends, family, neighbors, everybody in your contact list, I would copy that image, that thing that you sent out to all your customers, send it to everybody, your neighbors. Hey, can you do me a favor? Your goal is to get above 35 Google reviews. 35 Google reviews. If you can get above 35 Google reviews and you have a hard location on your Google My Business, it will drastically push you up to be seen.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do it.
Awesome. Well, Jacob, I appreciate you jumping on. Like I said, stick around after. I think you had some really good questions, and I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.